Hello there, Gemini, and welcome to your July reading. Great to see everybody again. A reminder that you can use these for your sun, your rising, and for your moon signs every month, even if I forget to say that. Now let's get into the reading. I start off each month with channeled information. And the way I choose, or get the channeled information rather, is first I choose a deck, then I meditate, and then I let information come through. For you, the information came in sort of like a quick flash here of a conductor or a director, and the word then that I came up with was direct, because that really sums up what the message is. There's multiple parts to this. The first part, when you think about being direct, is you have to first have a very clear idea of what you want to convey. And so I would say the first thing is to clarify your thoughts this month and your intentions, what you want to achieve, your goals. The clearer you can become the clearer you are on what you want, the easier it is for people to react to that and help you facilitate that. The second step is, once you've achieved that sort of clarity, then you want to be very direct in your speech, your actions, and how you basically get people excited or motivated to do what you want. So direct in thought, direct in speech and actions. And then the third part of this is more of something you want to do in your life, which is to take a look at everything that you have on your plate for the month and direct your energy and your focus towards that. Because if you do these three things, clarify your thoughts, clarify the way you communicate and act towards others, and then direct your energy towards the most important things that you want to accomplish this month, then I think you're unstoppable. So think direct, speak direct, direct your energy, and then also remember the role of a conductor or a director. It's not to sort of like micromanage or do every little thing. You surround yourself by successful people or with successful people, and then you give them the keys to do what they need to do. You keep them on track. So it's a month of oversight, of basically motivating people and keeping a look at the sort of bird's eye view of things, not so much getting in the weeds. So if you get stressed out or if you get pulled down by things, go higher and look at other things. All right, now let's take a look at the cards and see what additional information is coming through for you this month. For those of you that are new, I start every reading off with channeled information, and then I progress to take a look at the Celtic cross. And after that, I expand it to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. That gives you a really clear idea of potential, of challenges, and also gives me a chance just to let what needs to come through here in the center. So before we get to that, let's look at your catalyst message for this month. Catalyst being what sets the month into motion, but also what keeps it going and keeps it together. It's an important card. So we have this runes card here, which is saying it's all about your perception, how you perceive the situation. That's why I want you to be direct on your thoughts, so that you can start to pick up on the signs here too. That's the other thing with the runes card. All right, so as we look at the cards themselves, we have the Magician at the center, which I think is perfect and really aligns to that message of being a director, because this is one of the quintessential sort of manifestation cards that you could receive. Over top of that, we have Judgment, and Judgment is very, very powerful. These cards really are kind of completely lining up with the message that I had for you. This is about your power and ability to do things. This is about clarifying your thoughts. The two of these have to work in concert for you to be successful this month. So you need to believe you can do it, and then you need to do it, and then you need to just trust that you can do it, because the Magician doesn't have to explain, doesn't doubt himself or herself. They just basically move forward, knowing that there's certain things in the world that are magical. Some of that is kind of like mind over matter. You can make an amazing recovery and surprise doctors, and you don't know why. There's a little bit of magic, a little bit of faith. I need you to have that faith in yourself so that you can tap into the magic. So we have the Seven of Wands in reverse, and I like that there are horses on this card, because with the 7 and 8 of Wands, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of activity. With the 7, it's usually a chance to not take on as much as you are doing, to delegate, to let go, or to push back a little bit. So feel free this month. This is really appropriate for business. if you have too much on your plate, the Seven of Wands says you've got to leave a couple things behind or ask for assistance. So we have the Ace of Swords in your, basically around the first week of the month, this is going to apply to that. That is about taking action. That is about all of the other things that I was saying about being very vocal, speaking clearly, not being afraid to be direct in what you need to say. And sometimes that's constructive criticism. Just don't let that card reverse, which would be so direct that it comes through as too critical. Your crowning card is the Ten of Swords. Now this one's an interesting illustration because it's not showing complete failure. But what it is showing is that you might need to pick up the pieces from something that you might have either let go before, or maybe there was some sort of a delay and it didn't happen. This Ten of Swords is not one that looks fatalistic. In fact, you see an archway behind them. Kind of reminds me of what you would see like in the western states like Utah or whatever. But what that means is it's a passage that you're going through. If there was a disappointment or a setback or things kind of fell apart, pick up the pieces and rebuild it, and then to redirect yourself. So we'll put a re in front of it, but it's redirect. Take what you've got, make something of it. Nobody here is showing a sense of failure. If I can pick up this card here. All that we see is it's kind of slowed down, so I need you to push things back into action to take this Ace of Swords and clear out the 10. The 10 is end and beginning. We see that it's time to begin again with the Ace of Swords. I really like the Six of Pentacles, and I love the illustration on this. Six of Pentacles, also a note with that, it's always about prioritization. But what's great about this is it's a powerful card. There's a lot of opportunity. Sixes marry up nicely to like Six of Cups too, so I would say we could go one step further and reach out to people that you trust and bring them in and allow for more people to sort of support you. Whether this is work, love, relationships, or a major life change, don't be afraid to ask for assistance. With that being said, there may be a very difficult thing around the middle of the month that happens, whether it's like I said, a disappointment at work, there might be a health setback, whatever it is, it's not as bad as it seems. That's what I'm seeing in this card. When I'm looking at basically how you're feeling this month, I think that despite that, there's so much positive energy and momentum with the Three of Wands here. It's cool that you actually see that one arrow, which is again speaking to being focused, direct, having intention, persevering. I really think these are the messages for your sign this month, and it's quite exciting. So what you're seeking is starting to happen, and already I see you moving closer to your goal, which is great. When I look at your environmental sort of opportunities here, we have the Seven of Swords. Now, the interesting thing with this one is we see a dancer, and looks like he's in either some sort of like a wolf or a fox outfit. But what I see with that, and with sevens and fives of swords, it's about trusting and trying not to get involved in sort of like petty arguments or other people's problems. So with the Seven of Swords, cut your losses. If there's a relationship in your life that has been abusive or draining or not worth your energy, the Seven is saying enough. You've put enough energy into that. It's okay. You don't need my permission, but you have encouragement if you need it to move past that and let it go. Not everything is worth your time. The Seven also says be very careful about who you share ideas with, about who you gossip to. You really shouldn't be gossiping at all, but it's more about who you trust. And I would say when in doubt this month, keep things to yourself when it's about, basically, here's a good rule of thumb for you. Imagine that everything you say is going to be put up on a billboard or put on Twitter or shared with all of your friends. So if there's something that you're saying that you don't want like globally shared, don't say it. That's your rule of thumb for this month, and it's a really good one in general. As we look at hopes and fears, we have the Hanged Man here. It's reversed. So with the Ten of Swords in your crowning position and the Hanged Man reverse, I actually see things starting to get out of being stagnating. And the cool thing with this Hanged Man is once he's in the proper position, you actually see a Horn of Plenty here. So, the whole history behind the Hanged Man is the pause gives you a chance to take take stock of what's going on. It's about Odin, who hung upside down on a tree to gain insight. So don't be afraid to look at the situation, pause for half a step, and then move forward. You're not stuck. It's just a pause. As we look at where you're headed and kind of peeking into August, we have the King of Wands here. And this is a very powerful card. What I'm getting with this is I really want you to focus on what your dreams are this month. Not just like what you're dreaming, but like what it is you want to do in life. Be as clear in your vision work as possible. It's interesting, I've only recently started to kind of experiment with like a vision board or whatever, but it does work. You can even just use your refrigerator, which is what I do. And I post something that I'm trying to bring into fruition. And I see it every day, and you can also put it by your medicine cabinet, something where you see it every day and you put thought into it and you say a silent prayer or intention. I'm saying this because I want you to sort of, the word incubate came into my mind. So what I want you to do is at the beginning of the month, think about something that you want to have happen. And I want you to sort of let that incubate in your mind, and then you're going to have a chance, or you're going to be asked for information. So for those of you that might work in a creative career, this could be someone asking you to pitch a story idea, or to share an idea about what your project is. For those of you that are doing something more practical, it might be you being on the spot and asked to come up with a solution. So start to be proactive about your thought process on big ideas that you're passionate about. When it comes to relationships, we'll get a little bit more in depth when I look at the relationship card in a moment. I would say tread lightly, because we have the Ten of Swords, the Seven of Swords, the Hanged Man, and also the Seven of Wands in reverse. There's a lot of energy around you that's sort of pulling you away from relationships. And there's also this beautiful, it's the brightest card here, the Six of Pentacles, which is saying choose wisely. And I think this month I see a King of Wands energy coming in. So with that, I just want you to be, and again, this could be a fire sign for you, an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius, but I think it's bad timing. So if the relationship is new and something comes through, you want to take your time, you don't want to rush into it. And for those of you in relationships, focus less on arguing. The Ten of Swords comes through when there are arguments, the Seven comes through when there are trust issues, like I said. The Hanged Man is a stalemate. The way to get out of the stalemate is to focus on what matters, focus on what's good. This is a very optimistic card. And then also think about talk about the future, not about the past. So I think that's good for all relationships this month, even if things are completely copacetic and happy. It would be better to be focusing on what's next, or let's rather than constantly being looking at the past. It's not going to be as effective for you. Overall, it's pretty good. One last note on money this month: you have enough, but you want to be really smart about how you allocate funds. That's why I was saying being direct. It's also about prioritizing. So less on little things like eating out, or maybe you don't want to buy that, jacket that you've been looking at, or whatever it is. Spend very wisely this month, and you should have enough to sustain. And I see 3 months of growth happening for you too. A little bit slow to start with, and then it gets very fast after that. All right, let's expand your forecast, and we'll take a look at your health card, which includes your mind, body, and spirit. And your mind, body, spirit card this month is Spread Your Wings. Two things that I see with this in regards to your health. It's about stretching, about for those of you that are leading very sedentary lives, or working a job where you sit a lot, or maybe you're driving a taxi, a car, or a truck, or something like that. I need you to get out and stretch more often. The other thing is, don't be afraid to do something that's unusual in your fitness routine. So spreading your wings is also about trying something very, very different. I need you to change up your routine a little bit. So that's the main message coming through for health. When it comes to meditation and the mind part of this, I would say don't be afraid to do something that just gets you excited or puts you out of your comfort zone. This is a month to shake things up when it comes to your health and your meditation practice and your spiritual practice. So let's see what Ganesha has to say here about your wealth and career. Actually, I want to pull off the bottom. And we have Harmony, so that really fits nicely. Again, these are the two brightest cards that I got here, and I do feel like we've got the Six of Pentacles here showing enough balance, actually a little bit more, and Harmony showing that you really have what you need. So this Ganesha card, which beautiful illustration as well, is basically saying focus on, and it's also about your relationship harmony too, because of the positioning of this card and the chakra system as well. So I would say focus less on money, focus more on people this month, and try to stay balanced when it comes to your spending habits. You have more than what you need. Let's take a look at, we looked at health, wealth. Let's take a look at your love relationships, your love and relationships, I should say. And for that, your message is higher learning. So for some of you, particularly that are, if you're going through this Ten of Swords moment, rather than seeing it as like some sort of catastrophic failure or upset, because the Ten of Swords can be the beginnings of a divorce, a separation. It can be a very bad argument, one that makes you want to walk away. This card is basically saying you've learned from the experience. Why don't you turn and become more introspective to progress past this? So the other thing that's cool with this is if you're in a relationship that you want to kind of make it work, this is about seeking assistance, couples therapy, outside input. Higher learning means you need to go beyond what you know. Okay, so with relationship skills, think about how you can be a better partner, a better friend, a better son, a better mother, and either read up on it or talk to someone or get the training that you need to make that happen. Let's take a look at your Destiny card. And the Destiny card is really that wayfinding card for the month. It's going to tell you, are you in the right direction? And if you aren't, do you want to, change your frequency or your direction? So we have this Sage of Orbs card here. And what this is really about, there's a lot of energy and thought this month, and that goes back to my original message. So I want you to be very, very mindful of, and I like that you actually see the aura around the crown. So if you look at iconic photos like this that you'll see in some churches and temples and mosques, the reason that I honestly believe like a few thousand years ago people were a little bit more attuned to what auras look like. We lost that capability and we're just starting to get it back. But what they were seeing was that brilliant light around people that were really in tune with higher purpose. And so usually it's a silver light or a golden light that you would see, and the halo was more of an artistic rendition of it, but this disc or this globe or this flow of energy kind of shows what your thoughts are like. It's like you're putting this big satellite dish out and you're broadcasting. So when you think to yourself things, I want you to change the focus this month into things like, I am making this happen, I can do this, this is possible. This is a common thread that I've been picking up on this month, was the power of mental broadcasts. But you happen to get this Sage of Orbs card, which is really saying, be very respectful about how powerful thoughts are, how powerful intention is, because that's really what gives the magician his or her magic, is that they're able to manifest, believe, and make others believe. So that's the difference between an illusionist and a magician. Magicians are actually making things happen. Illusionists are just tricking people into it. But the magic here is that you want to believe it, then make it happen, and then other people are going to believe in you as well. Let's bring everything into focus, and then we'll wrap it up. So the main message this month, which I think I went into a lot of detail on, was how to be direct. Direct in your thoughts, direct in your speech, direct in your actions, and then also directing your attention to what's important. As we look at the cards, we have the Magician crossed by Judgment, saying power of thoughts will directly lead to manifestation. And having just seen your final card, your Destiny card, that really speaks absolutely synchronistically to that. As we look at the other messages, Deep Past, overarching card, and environmental card are all tied together. You're very busy. There's going to be some taxing situations that go on, possibly some arguments. Try not to engage in the arguments. Try to trust yourself and trust yourself not to sort of need to prove anything to these people that are possibly like pushing your buttons. Instead, focus on activating and using proper speech, both spoken and written. This month it's going to be very important. And your stagnation is ending here with the Hangman in reverse. King of Wands at the end of the month, showing again that you're going to have a chance to either articulate something further, you'll be put on the spot. So keep incubating an idea over the course of this month. Again, your catalyst this month was all about perception, the power of thoughts, about changing other people's perception. That's your power this month. You don't need to argue, you just need to shift their perspective and also see it from their perspective. For health, trying to change things up, whether it's an exercise, meditation, or even a diet routine, it's time to change things a little bit. Stretch more if you sit a lot, or if you're not getting outside and exercising as much. Money is in a good place this month. Just don't rock the boat. This is about staying on the same path, celebrating the success you've achieved, and not kind of reaching past what you should. When we look at your love card this month, it's about not being afraid to ask for help from teachers, help from counselors, or even looking and reading into things so that you have the tools to better arm you to have a great and harmonious relationship. And we talked a lot about the power of thought and really elevating your crown chakra and your thoughts. Think in a high space and everything else will follow suit. So I hope that was helpful for you this month. It was my pleasure to read. And if you'd ever like to just stay in touch a little bit more, the easiest way to do so is to click the subscribe button and then also opt into the notifications. So there's a subscribe and then a little bell. I also have a newsletter and you can sign up for that. I'll have a link in the description area below. If you just like more information about your own life and want to schedule an appointment with me, feel free to do that. I'll put a link in the video and then also in the description area so you can see my rates and availability. If you just want to say thanks because this was really helpful, I also have an option to create a donation. Otherwise, I hope that you got what you needed this month because basically I'm here to give you sort of like the roadmap so that you're armed with all of the sort of potential roadblocks and then also the ways to be more successful. This is your GPS, so use it wisely, treat others kindly, and thank you so much for all the love and support that you give back to me each month. I really appreciate the likes, the subscribes, and all the very positive comments. So keep those coming, take care of yourselves, and I wish you much love, abundance, and light. Take care. Bye-bye.